Alright, I hadn't expected to make another video so soon, so I've got a Star Wars hat on and a Canucks t-shirt of Corey Schneider. Because I got this after he got traded because I love trolling people. Alright, let me just read this straight off the Globe and Mail website. Rogers Media cut a wide swath through its hockey broadcast personnel on Monday, dismissing at least six on-air personalities, including Glen Healy, who was the between-the-benches analyst in Hockey Night Canada. He was also the guy most likely to make you want to put a gun in your mouth. They've also got rid of PJ Stock, no problem. Billy Jaffe, who I think was okay as a reporter. Chantal Desjardins, I don't even remember her. Corey Hirsch, who I could live her, whatever. And Leah Hextall. First Andy Petrello and now Leah Hextall. Must you destroy all the eye candy, Rogers? Also gone in a house cleaning prompted by a disastrous miscue by Rogers' upper management regarding Canadians' appetite for hockey. A mistake compounded by mediocre play from Canada's NHL teams. 5 p.m. NHL pregame show on Saturdays on Sportsnet 360 is cancelled. Oh, that's too bad. I like the pregame show. And behind the scenes, people are going to get dropped as well. Bad news came just a few days after word leaked out George Stroumboulopoulos was fired as the main host on Hockey Night in Canada and will be replaced by Ron MacLennan. The Ron MacLennan moved to George Stroumboulopoulos, and I feel bad for George, because I like George, and I'm apparently one of 3 people that likes George. From what I've read online, anyways, I'm one of 3 or 4 people that likes George. I've always liked him since he was on Much Music. But Rogers didn't just get Hockey Night in Canada. They decided they were going to reinvent Hockey Night in Canada. They were going to fix what wasn't broken. Kelly Rudy and Behind the Mask was a fantastic segment they had. And it was every other day. So you had, during the playoffs, you had Coach's Corner, and then on the other day, you'd have Behind the Mask with Kelly Rudy. The reason it worked is because Kelly Rudy is a very down-to-earth, knowledgeable sports guy who's also a little more in touch with current hockey than Don Cherry. So you'd have Don Cherry, doing his brash, all about fighting, and here's a big hit, and here's a big hit, and this shouldn't have been a penalty. And then you'd have Kelly Rudy with more of an analytical approach, more of an objective approach, and it was nice to have those two yin and yang together. They're not together anymore. Now it's just all Coach's Corner. Ron MacLennan was sent off to do hometown hockey. Now, as a Canucks fan, I'm fine with that. I remember during the 2011 Stanley Cup Final, he was quite obvious in his bias against the Canucks, especially Alex Burrows. He made some comments about Burrows that I felt were offside, considering that the team that they were against was Boston, which had Brad Marchand on the team. So I didn't think that cheering for Marchand over Burrows made any sense. Burrows can be a cheap shot artist, but Marchand is way worse. And the hit on Salo was the one that finally made me say, you know what, Marchand's a piece of shit. But I digress. Hockey Night in Canada last year was a mess. And the ratings weren't down because of the hosting group as much as the fact that Canadian teams weren't doing well. So Canadians weren't tuning in. But a more stripped down process makes more sense. I think they went all out on these huge sets and this big money on all these, look over here, we got this room over here, and we've got this new wall up here, and look, we've got this wall over there, we've got this display, and it's like, why? Why are you guys trying to emulate American sports when this is Hockey Night in Canada? So it put people off. Maybe they bring back Andy Petrello. I don't know what contract she has currently with TSN, but maybe they bring her back. Andy Petrello's biggest problem was she's a Leafs fan, and it showed. She started out, a Leafs beat reporter, and it showed while she was on TV that she was still cheering for the Leafs. But very pretty, very well spoken, and I never understood why they got rid of her. Never made sense to me. Sofia Yurshkovich, she'll keep her job because she's on Sportsnet regularly anyways. She did the work at the wall this past season. Just so many baffling things with Hockey Night in Canada and just unnecessary upgrades that nobody asked for. And everybody always says, well, Stroumboulopoulos didn't know what he's talking about. Well, Stroumboulopoulos was a Canadiens fan, and it showed. Ron MacLean likes everybody except Vancouver. So, Canucks fans, he's back. But getting rid of the other guys, I don't have a problem with it. I think, honestly, with sports, I think it's a good idea to do a house cleaning of your color and commentary guys every 5, 6, 10 years at most. Just because, and I mean, it's a constant coming and going, but you want to have guys who haven't been out of the game for so long that they're out of touch. You know, Don Cherry has that, but Don Cherry has his followers, and there are people who agree with his point of view. I don't. I honestly, I know where he lost me for good was when he kept every Canucks game. All he'd do is show goals by Wellwood. And it's like, look, Don, I watch games, and Wellwood's just floating out there. He's not doing anything. He doesn't hit, and anytime somebody goes over to hit him, he just hands them the puck. It was pretty ridiculous. So, my opinion on the firings, it's a good call. I'm glad it started with Glen Healy. Healy's biggest deal was that he just got mad all the time. If you disagreed with him, he got really angry. And I'm on the internet, so this is where Glen Healy belongs. He should get his own setup like this in his living room, and he'll fit right in with the rest of the internet. But you couldn't have a civil discussion with him. I would watch these guys bring up these points, and then he just, Rangers 1994. And it's like, okay, dude, you rode the pine in 1994. I get that you have a Stanley Cup ring. You didn't win it. Mike Richter did. Glen Healy was not the reason the Rangers won the Stanley Cup in 1994. He wasn't the reason they made the playoffs. He wasn't the reason that their skates and sticks were really good. He was just on the bench in a corner. So Keenan would go, look, I'm not calling on you unless we're completely fucked. You got that? All right. His stats weren't great. He was never a great goalie. He was middle of the road. He moved around a lot. Apparently, Willie Mitchell, there was a post on the Canucks forum today when this news came out, where Willie Mitchell basically said, hey, Healy, you can kiss my ass. Something he had said about the Panthers that Willie Mitchell didn't agree with, and Mitchell said something along the lines of the Panthers are more respectable than your career goals against average or save percentage. It was nice. And he's right. Healy will slam the shit out of a team and out of a team's goaltender. And it's like, okay, Glenn, when you played net, you weren't a Vezina winner. Ever. You were never close. You were never considered a starter. And it's tough. It's not like he was a goaltending coach for a team. He was just a commentator. And I never saw that with Corey Hirsch. And even on TSN, they have Jamie MacLennan. And TSN's team is, by and large, way better than Sportsnet's. But they've had 25 years of NHL broadcasts. They lost the NHL rights. They didn't lose their commentators. Believe me, they've had their miscues as well. I'm looking at Pierre Maguire and Mike Milbury as two examples. But Jamie MacLennan does a fantastic job of critiquing goaltenders without sounding like a know-it-all. And without sounding like, well, when 1994 Rangers, you don't hear that from him. And MacLennan was a backup for Luongo. When Luongo came to Vancouver, there were a lot of rumors that MacLennan was coming too because he wanted MacLennan for his backup. MacLennan has humility. He's humble. And if MacLennan ends up going to Hockey Night in Canada, and I don't know what's going to happen or what pieces are in motion, you will see an immediate, huge improvement in the program. It's about time. It's about time that Rogers woke up and realized they're paying, through the nose for Canadian broadcasting rates for hockey. They've got to have the best people in those positions. You can't just get a whole bunch of new sets and dress everything up. Like, if people don't like me, I can get a fantastic set and do fantastic flashy videos. People still aren't going to like me. And it's the same with Hockey Night in Canada. People don't like PJ Stock. They're not going to like him when you get all these cool little Marvel movie style holograms coming up in front of them. It's just not going to help. They need a better program, and I think Rogers is getting to it. It needs to be stripped down. There needs to be like 4 guys. You can still have Coach's Corner. I would do anything to bring back Kelly Rudy with that behind the mask segment. It was fantastic. Give Don, days off here and there. Let Kelly Rudy, because Kelly Rudy, I love the guy as an analyst, and Jamie MacLennan, give him a segment like that. He'd be fantastic. So, I guess we'll see what happens. But it's a fantastic move by Rogers. It's a sign that even if it's just reactionary because the ratings sucked, it's still the right move. It is a fantastic move. I feel bad for Stroumboulopoulos. He'll land on his feet. He'll get a hosting job somewhere. He's a well-spoken guy. He's a nice guy. I don't have a problem with him. To me, he never got testy and arrogant and prickish. And there are guys on Hockey Night in Canada that were getting that way. PJ could come off that way too. PJ Stock had his evenings where you'd go, man, did he just have a major fight with his wife? What the hell's going on with him tonight? He's an absolute prick tonight. And you shouldn't feel that way watching a sports broadcast. Even with videos like this, there are times that I record a video and I'll suddenly go, nope, and I'll stop it and I delete it right away because I get too emotional or I realize that it's just not right. It just doesn't have that flow that I want to have. So I just delete them and I don't give it a second thought because you have to have a certain temperament when you're discussing sports because it's sports. It's not like we're sitting in the House of Commons and debating about whether or not to end world hunger. Like, this is not the end of the world shit. This is, for Americans, that's our version of Congress. But it's, just relax. So many times I'd watch Healy and go, man, he needs to cut back on the fucking coffee before the show. Like, he just comes in just wired. Did you say something about the Rangers? 1994. I rode the bench like a son of a bitch. Nobody rode the bench like I did. Like he was just angry. Maybe he was angry because he rode the bench in 1994. I don't know. But he can go shine his ring for the next 20 years, for all I care. So, anyways, that's my opinion. Just thought I'd share that because this is all coming out. And people have commented on my videos that they're in foreign countries. I've seen France, I've seen Denmark. I don't know if I get visitors from anywhere else. But they've said, they don't necessarily get the view that we do because we're in Canada. So it's a view given by somebody who watched Hockey Night in Canada every Saturday this year. I watched it every Saturday, and then on Tuesdays when they'd have the other Hockey Night in Canada, they almost overdid it this year. But anyways, thanks for watching.